with your spirit. Believe God for it. Don't wait till the battle is over. Shout right now. We started a new series on yesterday entitled Fighting to Get to the Next Level. The book is entitled Fighting to Get to the Next Level. The series is entitled Fighting to Get to the Next Level. I'm calling this Lesson 2, Natural Matriculation. I want to talk about elevation. I want to talk about the natural process. I ended with this on yesterday. We talked about in 2 Corinthians 3 and 18, we go from glory to glory. We're changed from the image. Amen. Our image is changed. From one glory to the next glory. Our image is changed. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to start? I'm going to do some foundational stuff here. Everybody type in, if you're with me today, type in image creates desire. Type that in. Image creates desire. Everybody type it in. Good morning to all those that are on. Hit the like, hit the share. Let's get as many people on and bless them if we can. But those that are tracking with me, you're going to get the goods today. You're going to get the goods today. So type in image creates desire. Imagery is very important. Imagery is very powerful. This is why they airbrush the picture. This is why they fix up the picture. This is why the cover of the magazine, even on your camera, you got a picture, then you can enhance the color. You can do all that because image is very important. We learn a principle concerning image. I wrote a whole book about it, the need to see prosperity, because what you put in front of you is very important. What do you see? What are your image? What is your image? We see this principle with Jacob and the cows, the spotted and the speckled cows. You all may know the story, how that Jacob was desirous to be prosperous, who he was working for. His uncle Laban kept changing his wages 10 times. He was cheating him out of his money. And then they struck a deal. The spotted cows, the speckled cows, they will be the ones that are his. Well, you got 10,000 cattle, you got 3 or 4 with spots and speckles. But what Jacob did was he took some poplar, some tree bark, and put it in the watering trough. And then he had the bulls mating with the cows while the cows were looking at spots and speckles. Guess what they produced? Spots and speckles. It's a powerful thing that what you put in front of you, you can produce, you can come. You begin to zero in and focus. Image creates desire. So let me give you, I'm not even going to call these principle number 1, principle number 2, principle. I'm just going to give you so many principles, but you got to write them down and be diligent. First thing I ask you to type in is image creates desire. It is very, 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 put another 10 of those varies on that. Very important of the imagery that you see. Very important. Hey, this weekend, Cleveland was on the map. Man, I was so proud. I'm in Florida presently. I'm back and forth to Cleveland and not as in Cleveland as much as I used to be. But I have repositioned myself in Florida. I've always had a vision to do this and to do ministry from this place. Since I've been here, I'm always in the sunshine. I'm always around the ocean, the palm trees and all that kind of stuff. And I'm around a lot of prosperity. Image creates desire. I'm around a lot of success. I see it all the time. It motivates me. It fuels me. It changes my perspective. And it causes me to believe for greater things. One of the things that I'm believing for is to touch the world through technology, to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, to use this platform of ministry to go around the world and to touch people all across this nation. And so expanding my exposure expands me, seeing things, bigger things. Well, I mentioned Cleveland because Cleveland had a national and international event this whole weekend. the NBA, which is one of the major brands. I don't know if y'all know basketball and sports. Sports is one of the biggest things that drive the society. It's one of the biggest money makers in the world. What are the biggest money makers in the world? Technology. What are the biggest money makers in the world? Transportation. What are the biggest money makers in the world? Entertainment. And one of the biggest brands of entertainment is sports. It's one of the biggest money makers in the world. I think the NBA generates $10 billion a year. I think the NFL generates $30 billion a year. I mean, just go on down with the sports, okay? I mean, it's incredible. Now, you want to take it to the next level, then you got to start talking about technology. And technology merged with transportation, technology merged with the NBA. I can go on, and I will get to some of these powerful things because there are some principles that could help you get to the next level. Understanding how do you merge technology or sports or business with the thing that you are after and that you're trying to do, which is what I'm doing presently in this moment. But the principle that I'm giving you is that image creates desire. What you see is very, very, very important. What do you keep in front of you? Now, I don't need anyone to answer the question, but I do need to ask you, what do you keep in front of you? What do you watch? What do you look at? Like, okay, my time of entertainment. What shows do you watch, right? I just got into this new show. I'm not deep into it, but if I have a few moments, I will look at Millionaire Listings. That's one of the shows I like. I like some of these home remodel shows where they, but I like to see these people buying and selling homes, multi-million-dollar homes. I love that. It's inspiring. And then they show you, I made, $76,000 on this deal. I like that. I like to hear those high numbers, and I like to see these homes. Wow, this home is $6 million. This home is $12 million. They flew one of the salespersons over to Dubai. Oh, that's got to be my favorite episode. That the guy says 80% of the world's building cranes, were in Dubai at the time because Dubai was, developing at such a fast rate. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. And I was just listening, how much is this penthouse? 60 million US dollars, 30 million US dollars. It's just, it blows my mind. And I get a chance to expose myself to that. Am I on that level? Not right now. I'm not on that level. I'm not even close to that level. But it's exposure that expands me. I'm no longer on the bottom level. I'm not on the bottom level. Exposure has expanded me. And today's lesson is about the natural matriculation. So if I started out on the bottom, when I say the bottom, very humble beginnings, very like I didn't start out in my life and or ministry with any inheritance, no money. Nobody gave me a building. Nobody gave me nothing. I thank God for my mom and my father because they brought a level of exposure to me. We traveled. We saw Orlando, Florida a little bit. We would go down to Alabama. We got a chance to see a little bit of this, that, and the other. And I got exposed even through my natural church. I never even thought about this, but when I was going to the Second Mount Olive Baptist Church, when we got the new pastor from Columbus, Ohio, I was like, wow, he's from Columbus, Ohio. Well, that's a big thing to me. I was living in Cleveland. I was 9, 10, 11, or 12. And it's like Columbus, Ohio. Wow. Like that was big to me. And I accepted my call to ministry. And I never will forget, God blessed me to preach. And somebody invited me to preach in Columbus, Ohio. What? It was the biggest thing in the world to me. I was traveling. I got on a Greyhound bus, caught the bus down to Columbus, Ohio, and preached. I was then a traveling evangelist going from city to city. I hadn't crossed state lines yet. I just had preached in, and you know what? Next thing you know, I was preaching in Akron. I was preaching in Youngstown. I was preaching in, there's other little places. And then I never will forget, I got invited to preach into Pittsburgh. Man, that's out of state. Then I got invited to preach to Detroit. Then I was in Buffalo, New York. I mean, I just began to go all these different places. And the next thing you know it, the United States opened up for me. And then from California, I was in Africa. And then when I went to Africa, man, they was sending me to other countries in Africa. I went in South Africa and preached in, 7 different countries. They would consider them states. We would consider them states, but they were countries there in Africa. And so it was the image of, Landis Brown was from Columbus, Ohio. That image of being out of town and being exposed. The exposure expanded me. Seeing greater things, bigger things expanded me. And I learned the value of, back in those days, it was looking at magazines. I built a beautiful house, 20 years ago. I did that. But I was inspired because I was preaching up in Racine, Wisconsin. And when I was there, I met a multi-millionaire. The guy he gave me an offering of $60,000. That was, like 35 years, if the church is 31 years, it was 30 years ago. Some of y'all, Betty, are you on? Betty, you remember that. Joyce, you remember that. It gave me $60,000 30 years ago. And I bought the building on Union Street. I just came back and bought the old building. But when I met the gentleman, I knew it would be wise to develop a friendship with him. He gave $60,000 and I went just to be with him, play golf and hang out. And he took me to his home. When I saw his house, I don't know what it was, about $11 million. And that was way back then. His house sat on 100 acres. Now, I do remember that. He had 100 acres and he had his own man-made lake. He had another area that was a barn, and he took me over there and showed me his horses. One horse gave birth to another one. I saw a little colt horse. He told me this colt just sold for $250,000. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I mate my horses, and people buy their offspring. I got exposed. I remember he had a grand piano, like I have a grand piano, right? But I was inspired because I was in his house. He had a grand piano, and his piano, he told me, was, I forget, $250,000 because it was something specially made from out the country. And it was, I'm like, wow. And I saw this house. It was so big. He had an elevator in it. It was amazing. It was amazing. But the exposure expanded me, and it was that image that created desire. Within me, there was a desire created to build a house, to have a dream house. The house that I built was nothing like this gentleman's house, but the inspiration to build my home came from this experience. From there, I would always go to home openings, open house, but I didn't want to see them little houses. And I ain't tripping. I just wanted to see something really big and expand myself. And I met people in the industry, and I got around, I learned, and next thing you know it, I was building a house. I had a plan, I saved, but it was the image that created desire.
Got to find something in life. Life is going to take you from nobody. Fill them with your spirit and believe God for it. Don't wait till the battle is on. Shout right now.